KTN News.
Still on that, the three-day Africa Climate Summit kicked off today in Nairobi amid peaceful protest against the ongoing talks. The climate activists from the African continent who took to the streets claim some of the policies that will be proposed at the summit will continue to exploit African resources while concentrating power and wealth in the hands of advanced countries. They want countries responsible for climate change to finance the mitigation measures. Brenda Zeda Radido covered the protest and has filed the following report.
Carrying placards with different messages to delegates attending the Africa Climate Change Summit. Chants from hundreds of activists from across the African continent filled the air as they took to the streets of Nairobi to protest against the three-day Africa Climate Summit being held at the KICC. With messages such as, "Less talk, more action for climate change," "Unlock the financing," and "No nature, no future," the activists marched from Nyayo Stadium to the Green Park bus terminus a few meters from KICC where the summit is happening. They converged here for what they christened the Africa People's Climate Assembly.
They need to stop sitting in the conferences while we are the ones who are hurting out here. They need to create policies that involve Africans and the youth on the ground because they're the ones who suffer the most.
We expect and are demanding of our leaders to genuinely and truly represent our interests inside those discussions and deliberations.
They want advanced countries to pay for the huge damage done to the African continent, pastoralists who continue to bear the brunt of climate change. In the recent past, Kenya has been devastated by the worst drought, which has been attributed to global warming. Severe drought is projected to leave about 5.4 million people in Kenya without adequate access to food and water between March and June 2023.
Communities and indigenous people's rights need to be protected and need to be cared after in the pursuit of just energy transitions across the world.
It really is unrealistic for us to go back to the same people who caused the problem for the solution. That's the reason why they're giving solutions that continue to allow them to pollute.
According to the activists, the summit lacks legitimacy and shows no indication of addressing the real and worsening climate crisis caused by adverse countries, and are demanding for an end to the use of fossil fuel, and further demanded for more action from delegates attending the meeting rather than what they termed as boardroom conversations.
This current climate summit is a carbon summit because the fossil companies who have been polluting and continue to pollute are using carbon markets as a solution to allow them to continue polluting, and yet they tell the African continent not to drill for fossil fuels.
Sorting out fossil fuels is not going to sort out the whole problem. We need to look at the contribution of animal agriculture into this.
We want to connect the dignity of humanity with climate justice that says we want a system that is fair, which is just for everyone.
The activists say they will use the Africa People's Assembly to assert a stronger united voice on climate issues affecting about 1.2 billion people, even though the African continent contributes about 4% of global emission. Brenda Zeda Radido, KTN News.
Even as conversations on climate mitigation were happening at the Kenyatta International Convention